What's up with WhatsApp terms of service? Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for AskLeo.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, at the end of the video, if you find that this was useful or helpful, make sure and hit that like button so that'll help other people find the answers they're looking for as they search YouTube. So a week or so ago, WhatsApp got into, I'll just call it a kerfuffle, for lack of a better term, about announcing some new terms of service and requiring that people actually agree to those terms of service in order to be able to continue to use the app. This raised a lot of red flags. A lot of people ended up being very concerned, and as it turns out, it was a really good day for alternatives like Signal or Telegram. The issue with the WhatsApp terms of service turns out to be a tempest in a teapot. There really isn't anything horrific, or especially there isn't anything new going on. What it was, in my opinion, is simply a case of what I've referred to as ham-handed messaging. They simply didn't message or make the communication clear about exactly what was happening, why it was happening, and how you and I, as individual users, are affected by it. The short answer is, we're not. In other words, if you're already using WhatsApp, nothing changes. Not really. It's one of those things where, yes, they are owned by Facebook. We hopefully already knew this, just like Instagram is owned by Facebook. That implies that the relationship you have with WhatsApp and their privacy policy allows them to, well, share that information that they collect or use with their parent company, with the people that own them. That's the nature of the business relationship. Now, this isn't anything new, and in fact, it's not something that was being changed by this particular update to the terms of service. In fact, what was being updated was terms related to a business relationship. Apparently, WhatsApp and or Facebook are planning on, if they're not already, providing what they call hosted messaging services. In other words, rather than using the global WhatsApp network for WhatsApp communications, they will host a business-specific instance of all that, specifically for a business that wants to have their own private messaging service. Now, of course, they're going to be able to see more about what goes on in the business environment, and that's what the terms of service update was all about. It really didn't affect day-to-day users, average users like you and me. Now, to be clear, you do have to trust WhatsApp and, by extension, Facebook when you use the application. Now, I've pointed in the companion article to one of WhatsApp's statements about what they do and don't know about your communications. And I want to read that to you because it tries to be very clear. WhatsApp cannot see your personal messages or hear your calls, and neither can Facebook. WhatsApp does not keep logs of who you are messaging or calling. WhatsApp cannot see your shared location, and neither can Facebook. WhatsApp does not share your contacts with Facebook. WhatsApp groups remain private. You can set your messages to disappear. You can download your data. Again, those are official words from WhatsApp, and the link to that statement is in the companion article for this video, which I will point to at the end of this video. Now, the problem, of course, is what if you don't trust them? In other words, they tell you this, and you are trusting that they are, in fact, behaving this way. It's not always necessarily true. What if you don't trust them? Well, you have to continue using their service. If you don't trust them, don't use them. It really is that simple. There are alternatives, and the alternatives that I prefer is actually Signal. And the reason is simple. It's free, it's open source, it's run by a not-for-profit corporation, and it's endorsed by several high-profile journalists and privacy advocates, people who have a vested interest in these kinds of situations. So Signal is the alternative that I would recommend. Telegram is another one that basically claims to do the exact same thing. What do I do? Well, as I've mentioned elsewhere, I'm kind of the geek in my circle of friends, so I run them all. I run WhatsApp, I run Facebook Messenger, I've got Signal, I've got Telegram, I've got Skype. I've probably got others that I can't even remember right now. I just got a lot of them. Most of them are on my phone. The bottom line here is that as the techie in the circle, it's easier for me to switch one app for another when I'm communicating with someone else, whereas they may have a much more difficult time getting their head around switching from a different app just to be able to talk to me. So I try to be the flexible one. What should you do? Well, it's up to you. Honestly, it really is. It's one of those things where if you trust WhatsApp, if you trust Facebook, if you've been trusting them all along, there really isn't a reason to change. On the other hand, if this is of concern to you, then yeah, perhaps it's time to look for alternatives. But be aware that this terms of service kerfuffle is actually nothing new when it comes to individual WhatsApp accounts. For links related to this article, for updates and more, visit askleo.com/129276. I'm Leo Notenboom. This is AskLeo.com. Thanks for watching.